Hi everyone, my name's Carol Ibbotson from coolwool.net and I'm a knitting and crochet designer, tech editor and workshop trainer. This week I'm running a 5-day slip stitch knitting challenge and it's been great. So many people have joined in. We've had a ball doing it. So there's still time to join in if you want to. The details of where you can find all the information, this is my blog. I'll put it back up at the end. So today I'm going to give you a demo of one of the slip stitches that are part of the challenge. Okay, now the challenge is actually to use 5 different slip stitch patterns in one scarf or cowl. And you guys have taken up this. It's been fantastic. So why slip stitches? Well, if you don't know much about working colour work with knitting, it can seem quite daunting to a lot of people. The traditional sort of Fair Isle approach is what most people think of, or the intarsia approach, which is where you drop yarns part way through a row and pick up another one. Now they can, as I say, seem quite daunting to beginners. So slip stitch knitting allows you to work one row in one colour. That's all you ever do. You never have to change colours part way through a row. So I think it's a great way to do colour work. And all of these patterns here, these are all in the challenge. So this was day 1's challenge. Lovely little set of blocks there. This was day 2, so that was Tuesday. And don't worry about the 5-day thing. It can take as long as you want. This is diagonal steps, and that's the one I'm going to be demoing today for you. Day 3, yesterday, used 3 colours. Again, remember, all of these are done with using just one colour per row. All the patterning is carried out by slipping stitches in certain places. Today's challenge, nice bright one here I've got. It's another 3 colour one with a garter stitch type work in it. So I call that one tweedy sort of effect. Oops. And the last one, tomorrow's one, is this slip stitch one where you're carrying one slip stitch up quite a way as you work the others. Okay, so that's the pattern. You can get it, as I say, at this blog. All the details are in there about downloading the free pattern and all the free stitch patterns and everything, so you can join in to your heart's content. So today, let me show you this one, the diagonal steps. I'm going to show you how to work that. And some people like working from charts and some people don't. So in the PDF, you get charts and you get written instructions as well. I hope you can see that. My iPad's at a bit of an angle here. So the chart is at the top there, and if you're not used to knitting charts, I'll just give you a little bit of an overview here. Each row goes across, so right side rows are you work that way. It's like walking along the row. Then you turn and work wrong side rows that way, right side, wrong side, and so on all the way up to the pattern. The red square box shows you anything that's repeated. So I'll show you that in the demo in a minute, what that actually means. And then, as I say, if you prefer written instructions, they're all here as well. Okay, so, and everything's explained in a key and so on. Okay, so let's have a go. I've started off here with just working a little bit of garter stitch first, just to keep a nice flat edge, and then a couple of rows of stocking stitch. So let's knit 1 row, purl 1 row. So if you like, that's setting up the basis ready to work the mosaics. So now I'm actually going to work from the chart, and I'm going to start with row 1. This row here, the green one, was a setup row, which I've already done. So I'm going to be using this yarn here. Whoops, you can tell this is live. This one here for my alternative colour, which is beautiful colour actually, and I think it goes really nicely with this blue. So we're going to see some diagonal steps being created. Hi to everyone who's joined. I can't actually talk to you and demo at the same time, but I'll chat with you after in the comments, hopefully. Thank you for joining. And you can still join in this challenge this week or any time you like, really, to be honest. I'll give you more details again at the end if you've missed them. So now I'm working row 1 with this colour. This is my yarn B. So where the grey is, I'm going to be using this colour. So working across this row, just one knit stitch to start with. A plain square is a knit stitch. So I'm going to knit that one. Then we start the repeat. Knit 3 and slip 1 stitch with the yarn in the back. That's what that means, and that's what creates the colour. So it's in green, but which is actually blue here. But we won't be using blue on this row. We'll just simply be using this multicoloured yarn here. So I'm just going to join that in, and the way I do that is just to make a loop and pull it through. Split that stitch a bit. I pull everything tightly later on. I don't knot anything. I don't have some fancy way of joining it in. I just start working with that colour. So now I hope you can see this. Yeah, here we go. I think I'm in a better position now. I am going to start with the repeat. So 3 in the new colour and then slip 1. So 3 in the new colour. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Am I using my tail? Yeah, I am. Isn't that just the way? You go live and you do what you tell all your students to watch out for, and that is don't start knitting with your tail end. Holy moly. Never mind. Let's try again. Here we go. I've got the right end this time. So that's how not to do it. So we knit 3, first bit of the repeat. And now we're at this V stitch. So that means slip this next stitch. You slip it purlwise, as if you were going to purl, and you leave this yarn in the back. So slip and leave the yarn in the back. Now we start the repeat again. So knit 3. Don't pull that too tight across there, otherwise you'll get some puckering. Just spread it out. So that's 1, 2, 3, and slip the next one. Keep doing that all the way to the last stitch. Knit 3, slip the next one, and then we finally knit the last stitch. So that's our first row with some slip stitches going on. Now we're going to do row 2, which is a wrong side row. So as I'm working stocking stitch, I mean you can do this in garter stitch as well, which is knit every row. As I'm working in stocking stitch, this will be a purl row. So you can actually see it's very similar. In fact, it's exactly the same, but in purl. So you can either follow the chart or the knitted instructions, or just read your knitting. I always try and encourage people to do that, because then you're less likely to go wrong. And what I mean by that is just follow this row. So if it's in an orange or whatever this is, purl it. If it's in blue, slip it. And this time the yarn's at the front, because we want it on the wrong side, so it doesn't show. Purl 3, again I'm just following my knitting here, slip 1, purl 3, and slip 1, purl 3, and purl the last stitch. And this is what I mean by I never do anything fancy. I just give it a little tug when I get there, and that works fine. I hope you can all see. If anyone I can actually see some comments, I think. Well, I can see who's watching. I really hope you can see all right. Okay, so now we swap colours again. You do two rows in each colour, and you can see that's indicated here on this chart. So now we're doing 2 in yarn A, and this time it's knit 1. Then your repeat is knit those 2, slip that one, knit that one, and then back again. So you're still knitting 3 and slipping 1, but it's in a slightly different order. You start a little bit earlier with your slip stitch this time. So just pick up your blue, drop the coloured one, just leave it hanging there, it's not a problem. Knit, and again don't pull too tight here because you're pulling your blue up from below. So if you pull too tight it will pucker. So just do one little knit. This has come a bit loose, not a problem, tighten it up. Now we're into, this is row 3, remember, so 2 greens, or blues in my case. Slip the next one with the yarn at the back, and then carry on with the repeat, which is a knit 1 there, and then starting again, knit 2, slip 1, knit 3 again. So follow that routine all the way to the end. You can maybe start to see other patterns starting to develop, and this time we end up with 2 blues at the end. Pretty soon we'll have some steps starting to form. So going back the other way, again, I'm just going to follow my knitting. I'm going to purl the blue stitches and slip the coloured stitches with this blue stitch in the front, which is the wrong side of the work. 3. Slip, 3 blue again. Slip, and we end up with, I think I've done one wrong there. I'm just going to unpick it. If you ever need to know how to unpick it, just go into there, that last stitch as you let it off, and pull it back. There we are. Some of you eagle-eyed ones will have spotted that. I should have slipped that and not purl it. So I'll slip it and then carry on. So we've done 4 rows of the pattern now, starting to develop. Now we're going to do row 5, which is again our coloured yarn. So I'll just drop the blue, pick the coloured one up, and off we go again. And this time we're on row 5, so we start with 2 single coloured stitches. Don't pull too tight there. I just tend to do that when I've done the first stitch, just to make sure it's got room there and it's not going to pucker. Slip the next one, and we're back into knit 3, slip 1. Got some great photos of this in the Facebook group that are doing this challenge with me. I'm going to put some of those on the blog as well, so you can have a look at them. There we go. Let's do the row back again. This all started because I took before lockdown. Didn't we all do some wonderful things before lockdown? I used to teach this in a workshop. We used to come up with all sorts of samples, and one of the ladies took them all home. Just did lots of little squares. She took them all home, and then she joined me on another course later, and she was wearing a cowl made up of all these squares that she'd done on the course, and it was fantastic. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to set that as a challenge for people. Use all these different stitches in one item, and that's what people are doing this week with just 5 of them at the moment. See, I'm using circular needles. I couldn't find any straights today of the right length, so hey, it's coming along. We're starting to see it. So that was 1, 2. You can tell how many rows you've done if you get lost, because each pattern is like 2 rows. So we've done 2 of the yarn bee, 2 of the blue, 2 of the yarn bee. We're now on row 7, which is 2 of the blues now we're going to do. And this is quite a simple one because we start with just 1 knit and straight into a slip stitch. Hope everyone's okay. If you want to ask me any questions, feel free. I won't be able to answer them now, but I'm going to obviously see what any comments are later on. So knit 1, slip 1, knit 3 again. Same sort of pattern. Just move the slip stitch along by 1. You don't finish with a slip stitch ever, so you always knit the first stitch and the last stitch. Okay, let's just do that last row, row 8, and then we've done 1 repeat of the pattern. You need to do a few more really to see it coming through. So again, I'm following my knitting, so we've got actually 4 blues to start, then a slip stitch. 4 pearls in, no, sorry, 3 pearls in blue now, that's the repeat. Slip, 3, slip, and pearl at the end. So we've done 1 repeat of this steps pattern. Don't you just love it? I love it. So you just keep going like that, and it just carries on making these beautiful patterns. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I haven't quite finished yet. I am just going to show you some other ones, because these are quite simple ones, but you can get, so you can do some wonderful things. Look at this. This is a cable and slip stitch as well, all in the same thing. So again, you're only ever using 1 colour per row for that. But it looks so clever because it looks like you're changing colours to do the cables and everything, but you're not actually, you're just slipping stitches. This is another one with this one tends to pull like that. Some of them do, depending on how the slip stitches work. What else have we got? On some of them, you can have your slip stitches in the front, which gives a decorative effect. Some of you might have heard of this. This is half linen stitch. So you bring your floats to the actual front and use them as part of the design. There's also a linen stitch, which is a little bit more dense than that one, where you're going backwards and forwards all the time. Look at that, how dense that is. That would make a great bag or a coat, where things sometimes stretch, you know. That's a really great stitch. I love it. Worked in 3 colours there. And look at this one, dragon skin, this is called. You can probably understand why. How clever is this? Again, it's all slip stitches. This time the slip stitches are on the front, and then they're just sort of scooped up and worked with other bits as you go. Very, very clever. And then the last one I'm going to show is a mosaic one. Now, this is the same technique as slip stitching. It was made famous by somebody called Barbara Walker. She had a book, or there is a book out by Barbara Walker, with all the details of how to do lots of different patterns like this. It's the same idea. She just draws her charts a bit differently, and she doesn't use any written instructions. It's all done by charts. But fab. I love it. There are some others, and I can't find them. Hey, another day I'll show you some others. I've forgotten to bring those up. So once more, if you do want to join in, you can go to my blog here, coolwool.net/slip-stitch-knitting. You can get all the details from there, including the patterns, and you can you can see how to join the Facebook group and join us people having a go at this week. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I will be doing some more slip stitch stuff going forward. So if you want to keep abreast of it, because there's so many patterns you can do, then just sign up to my newsletters and you'll get all the details about that. So thanks very much everybody for watching. I really hope it's worked, because I haven't done a Facebook Live for a long time, but I thought I'd give it a go today. So thanks everyone. Bye.